Hey, what's up, filmmakers out there and actors? This is Ron K. Armstrong, filmmaker extraordinaire, with another video for you. In this video, I want to talk about how Black filmmakers need to stop making Black love stories. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button to get notifications on when I go live and when I upload recorded videos. All right, so let's get into the subject matter. This is not going to be something where I'm going to be spewing off data or getting really deep into a particular issue, more of a rant video, because I've covered this subject ad nauseum many, many times. And I'm going to revisit it simply because when I'm on social media, I always get filmmakers, specifically Black filmmakers, who are submitting their work to me to review. And this comes in the form of either screenplay, mostly live short films. And there's one thing that's very consistent, although it has changed over the years for the better, but there's still some really, really deep-seated issues there. And I'm going to talk about that. So first and foremost, I want to say this. Black filmmakers, stop fucking doing love stories. You know, there's a point to where you have to start realizing that we have a problem as a whole intellectually. You know, we're not very deep thinkers. We always focus on form over substance or content. And because that we suffer from that as a race collectively, that permeates the film industry. And I was talking with a filmmaker online today, and he was talking about, yeah, all we have to do is get a hold of this distribution thing, and we'll be good to start pumping out our own films. And I said, brother, it's more, we got a deeper problem than just controlling distribution, because our content is way off. You see, it used to be about 15, 20 years ago, where our focus on the type of content that we were producing as Black filmmakers was in the range of your hood thug films and then your Black love stories. And the hood thug films always revolved around, you see the poster coming out, these filmmakers would create posters for their short films where it always had some person with a gun. And I've always recoiled when I've seen that, because I'm thinking, if I look at that from the perspective of a white person, what am I seeing? I'm seeing an African-American youth with a gun, another film that's stereotyping us. You see, we have a comprehension problem. We're stupid because we don't get the point. Did I miss a meeting? Did someone say, oh, there are not enough Black romance films out there, or Black love stories? Because we don't know anything about romance. That's a whole different subject. But the amount of films that these independent filmmakers are producing that hover around Black romance is pathetically ridiculous. It's like 99.9%, you know? You've got to take a look at what the industry wants. You got to see where the market is saturated and don't go in that direction, dumbasses. And I'm sorry, but I don't understand, like, how are we still grappling with these issues? I was at a film financing conference, and one of the distributors there he said, listen, we are looking at, we need African-American horror films. If you have a script, if you have a film, please submit it to us. But the amount of films that we produce traditionally has been hood films and love stories, now more so of the love genre, is ridiculous. And this is what it comes from, and I'm going to explain to you. I kind of gathered this years ago when I was attending a lot of the Black business conferences and things of that nature. Black people as a whole are not early adopters. In fact, we're more conservative and cautious in terms of how we spend our money and what direction we go in on certain things. And one of the things that we do to our own detriment is that we will see someone else do something and it be proven successful, and then jump on board, and every Black person will do that, and that'll saturate the market. Case in point, many years ago, back in the early 90s, Spike Lee came out with his films and started doing this thing. Every young cat on the street wanted to be a Spike Lee, and was producing very similar films, like copycat films as Spike Lee. No original vision, no passion for telling a story. It was all the same shit. And that's what we do. We wait to see if someone else proves themselves in a particular industry. Then if it does prove successful, we saturate that market. We all jump on board, get involved, and saturate that market. Meanwhile, leaving these other avenues of opportunity open, wide open, where we could enter and we don't because we're stuck on stupid. We have to stop going in the same direction. It's the industry has, if Black love stories, and this is where it defies explanation because we're so stupid. If Black love stories were successful, you would hear it from the Hollywood Reporter, from the box office totals. And then it would be justifiable for you to maybe think you can go in that direction. But when is the last time you've seen a very highly successful Black love story? But yet we keep producing them, we keep making them. And then we want to cry foul when they have depictions of Egyptians as white. Well, why don't you make your own story with Black Egyptians? Duh. Every film that comes my way that some filmmaker wants me to take a look at revolves around some love theme. Now, I understand that we have some problems, we have dysfunctional relationships, but that's no reason to disproportionately focus on that, where there's no market for it. There's no, where do you see this coming from? What market is telling you? And don't tell me Tyler Perry film, because that's something totally different. We can dissect that and go into the reasons why he's successful and those films are successful. But I'm trying to tell you that the industry is crying out for filmmakers with a vision, with a passion, with a different perspective and outlook on the world. And the funny thing about it, and this is just tell you, and I really hate to berate us like this, but I gotta call it out. How this tells you how stupid we are. You have now this whole revolution, the digital revolution that has changed the game to where now average filmmakers can come along, make films on par with Hollywood effects and Hollywood cinematography. But what do? Do we use that to experiment like the Nigerian filmmakers? Because they're doing a lot of crazy, cool stuff with special effects. They're on point. They're pioneering in that area. But what do? We negate all of that to produce stupid love stories. Where the hell is the market? Tell me when, where, how did Hollywood say we don't have enough Black love stories? Did I miss this meeting? So why the fuck are you producing all of these films? One after another. If I love sci-fi, but if I see that every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there is producing a sci-fi film, I'm going to back off a little bit and say to myself, wow, the market's pretty saturated. Unless I do my film with something revolutionary different, I'm going to get lost. You producing a Black love story doesn't do anything. Strokes your ego maybe because you completed a short film. You have got to look at, for one thing here, and this is where we lack, the ability to focus on storytelling, all right? Hollywood loves great scripts. You get a good script, they want to talk to you. Study Joseph Campbell's work, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, or The Hero's Journey. Master the art of telling a story. Tell a story within a story within a story, like Inception or whatever. Be creative in how you do these things. You know, Robert Rodriguez and all these guys talking about, well, we don't have a lot of money, it forces you to be creative. And that's the exact opposite for African-American filmmakers, because when we don't have a lot of money, that forces us to be stupid. And we are stupid. Instead of like saying, wow, should we take advantage of all the technological advancements to produce something really interesting and groundbreaking? No, let's just tell a stupid traditional story of boy meets girl, one that has been done over and over and over and over again. And here's the deal. It's been done so many times that you actually believe that your film is maybe going to get picked up or noticed. No. You know, people might point to, well, Issa Rae did The Awkward Black Girl. Well, there's a reason why they picked up her film and they propelled her to the limelight, because they wanted to use her as a conduit to push interracial relationships between black white Black women and white men. That's one of so it wasn't about talent because I'm still trying to honestly look at where her talent lies because I'm not seeing it. Okay. And Hollywood does that. Hollywood takes mediocre filmmakers or people and they make them big stars. But eventually it all comes down because you start to realize, they didn't really have any talent from the get-go. But what I'm trying to tell you is this: there's never been a time like now to where the technology is there. The I mean, you have people who have YouTube channels who are getting more views than Hollywood is getting tickets for their movies. Never before have we been through such a time. And instead of us taking advantage of it, all we're doing is dropping back to very basic things that could have been done 20 years ago. If you're going to pick up a camera and just shoot a regular Boy Meets Girl movie, well, you could have did that 30, 40 years ago, and it wouldn't make no difference. But use the technology. Use the idea in crafting stories in a very interesting way. Maybe tell it in a non-linear way to really to stand out. But we don't. We tell the dumbest stories, the stupidest characters that you can imagine. Most of them are very stereotypical. And then we think it's going to get us someplace. You make a Black love story and it's going to sit there among all the others. Unless you've got some unique hook, different perspective, or interesting way to tell your story, non-linear story within a story, what have you, you're not going to make any progress in the industry. It's a cutthroat industry. You have got to demonstrate your creativity, your vision, your passion, and producing and going in the same direction that everyone else has gone will not help you. It'll hurt you. How about a sci-fi love story? Have you seen that before? Not really. Very rarely done. Why not dabble in that? And don't give me, well, that costs money. It doesn't cost money. I can set up right now and do a blue screen technique and it would cost me zero. So that's a bullshit excuse. You're intellectually bankrupt. That's what it is. Or creatively bankrupt. And you're making excuses for it. And you're hiding the fact that you don't know how to tell a good story. Stop being a sheep. Stop doing what everybody else is doing. And take it upon yourself to, number one, study the craft, and number two, be a visionary, be creative, and be different so that people will stand up and take notice. The Black film industry doesn't need another hood film. We don't need another New Jack City. We don't need a reboot of a New Jack City. We don't need another Love and Basketball. If we did, you'd be seeing a bunch of them coming out of Hollywood. But what we do need, there's a vacancy there. There's a hole there. And we're not looking there. We're not going in that direction. And it's right in front of our eyes. So the question is, what the hell is wrong with you? Seriously, what the hell is wrong with you? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. You look online and you will see the number of Black love films. Why would you do another one? To get lost in the crowd? Why would you do another one? Without coming up with a nice strategy, a nice plan to differentiate yourself from the rest. I had one producer where I was doing a pitch. I was pitching my project to her. She looked at me, she says, tell me why you're the one to bring this story to the screen. And that was a very good question. And I had a very good answer for her. But if you look at Black filmmakers and say, why do you feel compelled to tell this story? There's no answer. There's no answer. There's just silence, intellectually bankrupt. Nothing's up there. Nothing's up there. I'd be damned if I'm going to spend a bunch of money on a production to do what every other filmmaker has done. That's a waste of my time. That gives me no, let me explain something to you. I watch these fan-made films, these Star Trek fan-made films, these Predator fan-made films, and I love them. I think they're very creative, they're entertaining, but I would never do one simply because it doesn't get you, you gain no traction with that. You don't go anywhere with that. Because most of the time, they're not going to hire you to direct a Star Trek episode. They're not going to hire you to direct the next Predator. They're going to look at it and say, oh, okay, interesting. He's got a little bit of talent there. And then they're going to move off to another established director to employ for the next film. So although I'm a big sci-fi fan and I love those fan-made films, I'm smart enough to know not to waste money to do one of those things because it's not going to help my film career. And very few filmmakers have leveraged an opportunity to do a short based off an established franchise to actually get in the door in that franchise. It's very few filmmakers have done that. So I'm not going to roll the dice and take that chance. But what I would do is a short film that is different, separates from the rest, has cutting edge effects or great actors or just a killer story. It's funny, I've talked to filmmakers who've done a lot of shorts, and they're telling me about some really great story that they have in mind. And I'm like, wow, that is awesome. But why did you shoot all this other junk? You know, you're telling me this awesome story that you have as an idea, but yet you went and shot a straight up hood film, a straight up love story. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't this have been your first film out the door? There's something wrong with us that we're not processing. There's something not right. We're not functioning properly. And I think it's maybe we're too close to a particular lifestyle to not divorce ourselves from it, to understand like, hey, although the hood thing is cool, I lived there, I had that experience, hey, I need to envision a world where I see Black people in the future and starships and traveling to different galaxies like interstellar. We're not going there. And that's a problem. So if you're looking to take your career to the next level, I think I've given you some things to think about. And no excuses. Don't tell me that, oh, the budgets, no. People are, especially a lot of creative white filmmakers are doing something with zero budget. And they're having like the most awesome effects you could see visually. So what's your problem then? And I guarantee you, like after I make this video, ranting and raving, they'll still turn them out, still turn out love stories. They'll just ignore it and keep doing the same thing over and over again, and then complain that Hollywood doesn't let you in. Hollywood's not going to let you in because you're not demonstrating anything that they need. Any director can produce a 10-minute love story. Any director can do that. But what any director can't do is to employ an innovative, creative perspective or technique in the storytelling. And that's where you're lacking. That's why we're failing as a group. Don't blame Hollywood. I want to thank you for listening to this video. So this is Ron K. Armstrong, filmmaker extraordinaire. Until my next video, keep making films.